On the second day of Todd Blanche's nomination hearing to be Attorney General of the United States, the committee convened an outside panel of witnesses to discuss his fitness to serve in that office. I invited one of the witnesses. Her name is Danny Bensky, a young woman who is a dance teacher and a mother. She was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. She was sexually abused by him when she was 17 years old. A group of about a dozen Epstein survivors and their loved ones sat behind Danny when she testified. They were urging that the predators responsible for these horrific crimes be held accountable. Their stories are heartbreaking, but instead of helping them, the Trump Justice Department has re-traumatized these survivors with its careless and cavalier attitude. When this administration finally released information pertaining to Epstein's trafficking ring after missing the Epstein Files Transparency Act deadline, many of the survivors' personal identity information became public available. These survivors, who've already suffered unspeakable abuses, were forced to relive their trauma as one of the most painful moments of their lives became public for anyone, including their friends, family, and co-workers, to see. There was a time when the Department of Justice turned 1,000 attorneys loose on the Epstein Files to find any references to the president. They were so careful they went through it page by page for millions of pages. And yet when it came time to finally release the files, they were so slipshod and haphazard that they released the identities, the addresses, the telephone numbers, and even photographs of the Epstein victims. The victims of Epstein's abuse attended both days of the hearing to demand accountability from the man who oversaw that botched release of files that put private information on the hotline, Todd Blanche. They wanted the opportunity to speak with him, to tell him their stories, and to push him to hold the predators responsible for their abuse accountable. When I asked Mr. Blanche on Wednesday if he would meet with these brave individuals, he responded with babble about lawyers and regulations. He wouldn't just say, "I'll meet with the victims." It is fortunate that to do the right thing, it took the threat of one Republican senator who said he would not support Blanche's nomination for Attorney General unless he met with the survivors. Then, reluctantly, he did. You would think Mr. Blanche would go out of his way to meet with them, to apologize for the harm he'd caused the victims, for the information that was disclosed, and to present them with a plan for changes going forward to protect victims while pursuing perpetrators. Instead, he arrived at the meeting ready to deny any blame for himself, with little or no concern for the survivors, according to their reports. Those in the room described him as dismissive. They said that speaking with Mr. Blanche was like, quote, beating your head against the wall, close quote. The impression that the victims, upon leaving the meeting, was that Mr. Blanche was only there to check the box for his promotion. Nothing was going to change. Is this a man we want to confirm to be the head of the premier law enforcement agency in America? With Mr. Blanche, it is clear that justice is secondary to loyalty to the president. Under Blanche, hundreds of FBI personnel were directed to troll through those Epstein files to find any mention of the president, but could not exercise the same level of care to ensure victims' information remained protected. When pressed in an interview why more Epstein accomplices had not been charged, Blanche insisted, quote, it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein, close quote. Mr. President, survivors deserve more than that type of flip comment. They deserve a DOJ committed to ensuring that it'll never happen again. They deserve an Attorney General who treats them with respect and compassion. Mr. Blanche's behavior surrounding the Epstein investigation is just one of the many reasons he should not lead the Department of Justice. I urge my colleagues to oppose his nomination, yield the floor, and suggest the absence of a quorum.